Was Dragon Age 2 really that bad? Last year, I decided to revisit all the Dragon Age games in anticipation for the release of Veilguard, and well, that was a thing. I replayed Dragon Age Origins on my channel last year and then moved on to Inquisition as well, right before the release of Dragon Age the Veilguard in October. I am now replaying 2 again, 6 months after finishing Veilguard, to gain some perspective, and I kind of want to play Veilguard after this as well, just to relive the entire series again. When I finished Inquisition for the first time, after being overwhelmed by my 135-hour playtime, thinking, you know, maybe 2 wasn't as bad as people said it was back then. The same thing occurred this time after Veilguard, but a little more, you know, I think Dragon Age 2 isn't so bad after all. It may not have had massive depth or solid dialogue or character choice. I'm not saying Veilguard had that, but it had some great game mechanics, decent gameplay, full ally combat controls, and you didn't feel like your character was apologizing to everyone all the time for existing and possibly offending someone, and not having to pop blight pimples for the 100th time, or explain your actions to everyone, or hear the same keywords in story being said a million times over and over again. You know, have you heard of the Elven Gods, Elgar'nan and Gillenane, for what, 50 times in a row? And seeing Darkspawn actually looking cool and menacing was a real nice change. When Dragon Age 2 first came out, I actually enjoyed it a lot and played it through several times. It was not liked very well. A lot of the criticism was aimed at the no origin character creation, being locked out of dwarves, elves, and it was lauded as like a step back from the semi-open world gameplay that Origins had. In 2, the maps are very similar and kind of strike-styled Mass Effect missions. You pick up a quest from a hub in town, a whole bunch of them. Then you go to a map, select an area to visit, and then you're teleported there after a loading screen. One nice thing that 2 did well was adding a voice protagonist, which was played by Joe Wyatt for the female Hawk, and it was done very well. The dialogue choices weren't a big difference from one another, but I always chose the third sassy option, for that's how I envision my Hawk to be in canon. I'm always positive for voice acting in games. I love Origins, but I felt like the one thing it was missing was that voice. I don't really care about role-playing my character, like, to live the story through someone else's eyes. And Dragon Age 2, I felt like, you know, we were riding on the coat of the adventure of Hawk in her life. But I think for Origins, it did well. You know, you're role playing as your character, not this character, and I felt like Origins did the job. But for Dragon Age 2, I felt like it was a good idea to do this. Even though the dialogue isn't the greatest like in Origins, a lot of the lines are very memorable for me. Like hearing Hawk say,
"Maker knows I could use more satisfying work."
All right, Aveline. You have something worth doing?
well, I mean, after Act 1 is all fetch quests, but after that, you know, pretty nicely without losing steam, it does come off as repetitive, especially in Act 1. But I love doing the companion missions for like Meryl and Barrick. You'll revisit the same area over and over. It may seem tedious, but for the gameplay for me is fine, so I don't mind it so much. The enjoyment is in the game in these areas that are filled with like companion banter, living vicariously through my friends and their struggles and their lives, giving you the hard choices to make, depending if you want their affection or not. Spoiler warning, but the game's like how old. There's a quest in Dragon Age 2 where you're helping Meryl complete her mirror, and completing it might end up destroying an elven encampment to make her happy, or having her being mad at you, but saving the elven village by the mountainside there. Or what to say when Isabella betrays you, but in being friends, you made the right choice to come clean after all, and I believe in redemption story arcs, so I always take Izzy back at the end of Act 2. The fact that BioWare shipped this out in 16 months, yes, you heard that right, 16 months, is nothing short of a miracle. Most games nowadays take 4 to 5 years, and if you are a certain AAA publisher from Maine, namely Bethesda, try 7 to 8 years. Dragon Age 2 is a game title that I like to play through once a year, and when I need to gain some perspective or leave myself in a crazy plot with overarching storylines and all that stuff, even though it's very linear, or to collapse into my companions, it's a really great time. It's easy to dive into, it isn't terribly long of a game, it's about 30-35 hours, and you can feel it rewarding if I can just drudge through that first act. So I'm diving into Dragon Age 2 again, and I just wanted to share my thoughts again. Just reiterate that I don't think Dragon Age 2 was really as bad as people said it is. If you take it into perspective now, it's pretty amazing what they were able to get out the door.